Hi everyone, I am M. Yogeshwar, Faculty of Commerce at TTWRD and Sangareddy. Today's session, I would like to discuss about one of the important chapter from the income tax, that is income from salaries. Section 15 to 17 of Income Tax Act 1961 deals with income from salaries. So before starting the session, I would like to give you brief about the five heads of income, that is sources of income for determining total income for the tax purpose. So while calculating tax, the income tax department has given five heads of income, that is income from salaries, second one income from house property, third one profits and gains from business and profession, fourth one capital gains, and fifth one income from other sources. So by clubbing all these five heads, we will get total income of an assessee. Assessee means the person who is liable to pay tax. Now, today's session, we are going to discuss about the first head of income, that is income from salaries. So very important for fourth semester students. I would like to start the session. Now, to this session, we are going to discuss about what we are going to learn from today's session. That is meaning of salary and leave salary, gratuity, pension, bonus, advance salary, areas of salary and allowances, perquisites and its valuation, profits in lieu of salary, and finally, what are the various deductions from salaries, that is section 80C to 80U. Now, before starting the session, I would like to give you clarity over the meaning of salary. Salary means the remuneration which is given by the employer to the employee, the person who is rendering his services for the sake of the organization. Now, just introduction about the income from salaries. So it is nothing but a fixed regular payment typically paid on a monthly basis, but often expressed as an annual sum made by an employer to an employee. Means it's a typical paid, it's a monthly emolument. It's a monthly emolument which is paid by the employer to the employee. So what is the meaning of salary? Salary in common parlance means any amount paid by an employer to his employee in lieu of services rendered by him. Means the salary given by the employer to the employee only. Means there should be a relationship exist. There should be a employer-employee relationship exist between the two persons. And next, income from salaries is always chargeable to tax on due basis. So income from salaries always chargeable to tax on due basis. So what is the meaning of due basis? Due basis in the sense the employees generally works in the starting from the month to end of the month. For suppose A is an employee working in a multinational corporation or multinational company from March 1st to 31st March. But the salary will receive in the first week of the April. Means he is taken salary after the completion of his job. So that is, so salary is still due. So that's why we are calculate total income of salary on due basis. Whenever he receives salary the first week of April, it is known as cash basis. So this is the small difference between due basis and cash basis. And next, how the salary will evaluate for the tax purpose. So salary equals to salary plus allowances plus perquisites plus profit in lieu of salary. From these, we have to deduct entertainment allowance plus employment tax. By clubbing all these, we will get income from salary for the tax purpose. And in the next slide, so what is the method of computation of income from salary? So first we have to add basic salary. In basic salary, basic pay, fees plus commission, bonus and arrears of salary and etc. will included. To basic salary, we have to add allowances. There are n number of allowances are there. And next, perquisites. And next, in the upcoming session, we are going to discuss about perquisites also. Plus profit in lieu of salary. And from this, we have to deduct some deductions, section 80C to 80U. By clubbing all these salaries plus allowances plus perquisites plus profit in lieu of salary, you'll get gross income from salary. By deducting deductions from the gross income salary, we'll get net income from salary for the tax purpose. Now, so what's the meaning of salary? Section 17 discuss about the actual meaning of salary and what are the contents involved in salary. So let's look on this. Salary includes any annuity or pension, wages, any gratuity, or any fees, commission, perquisites, or profit in lieu of salary, in addition to the salary or wages, or any advance salary. So any payment received by an employee in respect of any period of leave not availed by him, and employer's contribution to the recognized provident fund is excess of 12% of salary of an employee. All these were including in the meaning of salary or word of salary. And next, what is the meaning of allowances? So it's a very important. So most of the employees who are working in the various institutions or organizations, the employer will provide allowances to the employees. So what is the meaning of allowances? Allowances in the sense, it is a monetary benefit. It is a monetary benefit which is provided by the employer to the employee to meet his daily expenses. To meet his daily expenses. Let's look on this. So an allowance is a fixed amount of money received by a salaried employee from his employer to meet a particular type of expenditure over and above salary. For example, companies provide overtime allowance to employees if they work more than fixed working hours. So based on their respective tax treatment, the allowances are three types. That is taxable allowances, non-taxable allowance, and partial taxable allowances. Here, the meaning of salary is different from allowances to the perquisites and profit in lieu of salary. So, from the allowances point of view, the meaning of salary is salary equals to basic pay plus DA, which is forming part of the salary or forming part of retirement benefit, plus commission. DA, basic pay plus DA plus commission. The meaning of salary in case of allowances is salary equals to basic pay plus DA. So forming part of salary plus commission. Now the various types of allowances. Let's see. So there are three types of important allowances are there. That is fully exempted allowance, exempted up to some limits, and taxable allowances. So here, let's see fully exempted allowances. That is uniform allowance, daily allowance, and conveyance allowance, and helper allowance, traveling allowance, and academic and research allowance. So for these allowances, these are fully exempted allowances to the employees for tax purpose. So amount should be actually used. If not used, then unused amount is taxable. Suppose for conveyance allowance, if the employer provided conveyance allowance is 1000 rupees, if employee used only 700 rupees, so unused amount 300 will be taxable. And next, exempted up to some limits means the partial allowances. Now there are various allowances. That is first one, children education allowance. children education allowances provided by the employer to the employee to meet their children education expenditures. So here the employer will provide a children education allowance 100 per month per child up to the 2 children maximum. That means 2400 for year up to 2 children. Now come to the point, children hostel allowance, second one. So here 300 per month will provided up to the 2 children, and third one, transport allowance, it is completely excluded from the allowances. Now it is completely taxable now. In recent times up to 600 per month is completely exempted, but now it is fully taxable. Now come to the point, very important allowance, that is HRA, house rent allowance. So house rent allowance is nothing but, here employer will provide some monetary benefit to meet his rental expenditures. So house rental allowance 50% basic plus DA in metro cities. We are having 4 different metro cities, that is Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. Or in case of other cities, 40% of salary will be levied for tax purpose. Now fully taxable allowances are there, that is dearness allowance, special allowance, means especially who are working in professional duties, and bonus, incentives and variable pay, lunch allowances and transport allowances. Here we are going to discuss about in brief about house rent allowance. So very important one. House rent allowance is nothing but, here employer will provide some monetary benefit to meet employees rental expenditures. So I already told you, allowances is a monetary benefit which is provided by the employer to the employee in a monetary terms, means by giving cash. Now any special allowance specifically granted to an assessee by his employer to meet expenditure actually incurred on payment of rent in respect of residential accommodation occupied by the assessee, to such extent as may be prescribed, having regard to the area or place in which such accommodation is situated and other relevant considerations. Means here assessee is nothing but, assessee means the person who is liable to pay tax. Assessee means the person who is liable to pay tax. This person is known as assessee. Now here the employer. Now it is very much clear that HRA is not available, where sometimes HRA is not applicable to the employees. Let's see who are those. The residential accommodation occupied by the assessee is owned by him. Means here whenever assessee resides in his own residence, in that situation HRA will not be applicable. And in second situation, the assessee has not actually incurred expenditure on payment of rent in respect of the residential accommodation. Means if the assessee is not paying any rent to the residential accommodation where he is actually resides, in that situation also it is not applicable. Now next see so how the HRA will be determined. So before, quantum of reduction will be list of the following. In case of metro cities, Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi and Chennai or other cities. So for the valuation of exempted HRA, first we have to take actual received HRA and rent paid minus 10% of salary. And in case of metro cities, 50% of salary will be taken for the tax purpose. In case of other cities, actual received HRA and rent paid minus 10% of salary and 40% of salary. Let's see an example problem over house rent allowance. Now See, Ram is entitled to a basic salary of rupees 5,000 per month and dearness allowance of rupees 1,000 per month, 40% of which forms part of retirement benefit. He is also entitled for house rent allowance of rupees 2,000 per month. He actually pays rupees 2,000 per month as a rent for his house in Delhi. So let's see, in case of Delhi, that is metro city and non-metro city also. Before this, we have to calculate, before knowing the exempted HRA or taxable HRA, we have to calculate the salary. I already told you the meaning of salary is completely different in case of allowances. So salary equals to basic pay plus DA plus commission. So DA here means, here already is the forming part of retirement benefit. So we have to consider DA. So in the above scenario, we first have to calculate. So let's check here. The basic salary of an assessee, that is Ram, is rupees 5,000 and DNS allowance is given 1,000 per month. So in 1,000, that is 12,000 rupees, 1,000 into 12 months. So only 40% of which forms part of retirement benefit, means we have to consider only 40% of salary for tax purpose here. Means so DA will allow only 40%. Now he is received house rent allowance from his employer 2,000 per month, that is 24,000. So he actually pays monthly rent of rupees 2,000 per month in Delhi. So it's a metro city. So let's determine the salary. So first we have to take salary, that is monthly salary, basic salary is there 5,000 into 12, 60,000 plus DA, that is forming part of salary 40%, that is 4,800. So by adding this, there is no commission is given. Now total salary for the purpose of computation of HRA is 60,000 plus 4,800, that is 64,800. So now next slide, let's see the quantum of reduction will be list of the following. So in the problem, actual received HRA is 2,000 per month, that is 24,000, and rent paid 2,000 per month in Delhi, that is 24,000, and 10% of salary. Now actual salary is 64,800. So we have to take 10% of salary, 64,800 into 10%, that is 6,480. So by deducting 6,480 from 24,000, we'll get 17,520, and 50% of salary in case of metro cities, because he is residing in metro city. So that's why we are consider 50% of salary. Now total amount is 32,400, 64,800 divided by into 64,800 into 50%, that is 32,400. So least from the list of these three amount will be treated as exempted HRA. So that is 17,520 will be the exempted HRA. Now if the for suppose if the assessee resides other than metro cities, means the formula, the calculation will be in the same, but there is only one change is there. So in case of metro cities, we are taking 50%, but in case of non-metro cities, we are consider 40% of salary. But in the both situations, here exempted HRA is 17,520. Now how we will calculate taxable HRA? So we have to deduct 17,520 from actual received HRA. From actual received HRA, we have to deduct 17,520. The balance amount will be taxable. Let's see perquisites. So perquisites is nothing but it is the additional benefit. The major difference between allowances and perquisites is, I tell you in a single word, allowances, whereas allowances are cash benefits or monetary benefits, whereas perquisites are service benefit. Means instead of providing house rent allowance, employer will gives quarters to the employees. Means instead of meeting rental expenditures in the form of rental expenditure, the employer will provide one house for the residing purpose. Let's see, the phrase perquisite signifies some additional benefit in addition to the amount that may be legally due benefit in addition to the amount that may be legally due by way of contract for service rendered. Perquisites may be provided perquisites may be provided in cash or in kind. So perquisites are included in the salary only if they are received by an employee from his employer. So perquisite must be received from the employer only. If the perquisite received from any other person, that time it is not allowed as a deduction. And next, perquisite received from a person other than employer are taxable under the head profit and gain of business or profession or income from other sources. Next, next slide. So here you can see the list of various perquisites. So first one is rent-free accommodation or concessional accommodation, and next domestic servants and supply of gas, electricity and water. And next, free or concessional education facilities for the employees' children, and leave travel concession, interest-free loans, use of movable assets, sale of movable assets and medical facilities, perquisites of motor car and employee stock option plan. So rent-free accommodation means here employers provide two kinds of accommodation. One is furnished accommodation and unfurnished accommodation. Furnished accommodation means accommodation along with the furniture. Unfurnished means accommodation without any furniture. Domestic servants in the sense. Here the employers will provide servants for office purpose or residential purpose for the sake of the employees. And next, some employers provides gas and electricity and water facility to their employees, and some of employers are providing education facility for the employed children, and some travel concession will be available to the in the form of perks, and interest-free loans will provide by the employer. Some movable assets are there. Movable assets are nothing but the assets which are moved from one place to another place, and sale of movable assets. And medical facilities also provided by the employer in the form of providing health cards or ESI. So some health schemes are there. And next, perquisites of motor car, it's a very, very important one. And next, some of the employers were giving option to the sharing their shares. So that is employee stock option plan. And next slide, we are going to discuss about a gratuity at the death or retirement. So it's another important perquisite. So any death cum retirement gratuity received under the revised pension rules of the central government is exempt. So according to Payment of Gratuity Act 1972, employer will receive gratuity at the time of retirement or in death. Now, employees covered under Payment of Gratuity Act 1972, list of the following amount of gratuity is exempt from tax. So it is applicable to the government employees. So in case of government employees, the amount of gratuity is completely exempted. In case of other than government, somewhat is taxable. Now, so how the gratuity is exempted from tax and what is the valuation procedure? Let's see. The first one, point one, step one, 15 days of salary based on salary last drawn for every completed year of services or part thereof in excess of 6 months. So in case of seasonal employees, 7 days we will consider. So second one is 20 lakhs rupees, and before this 10 lakhs of gratuity is there. Now central government was enhances the amount of gratuity from 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs, and next gratuity actual receipt. So list of these three amount will be allowed for the tax purpose. And next slide, by adding this you will get gratuity, exempted gratuity for tax purpose. And next, pension. So especially pension provided by the employer after his retirement. So employers are, the pension is commuted and uncommuted. So commuted pension received by the government employees are wholly exempt under section 10 of 10A. So section 10 of Income Tax Act 1961 is completely deals with exempted incomes. So that is why here the pension which is received by the government employees is completely exempted. But in case of other than government employees, the pension will be valuated in the following form. That is, one third of pension or rupees 15,000 rupees. So least of these amount will be allowed for the tax purpose. Now, in case of other employees, commuted value is 1/2. Next, the another important one, valuation of unfurnished rent-free accommodation. So very important. So rent-free accommodation is given by the employer to the employee in the form of quarters. So rent-free accommodation is applicable to both government employees and other than government employees. Now, whenever rent-free accommodation provided to the government employees, the rent will fixed by the government only. In case of government employees, rent will be fixed by the government only. In case of other than government employees, there are three variants. So next one is, there are another one is there. In case of hotel, in case of hotel, 24%, sorry, now, so if other than government, in case of government employees, rent fixed by the government. In case of other than government employees, if the accommodation owned by the employer, means if the accommodation is related to employer, that time the amount of rent free accommodation for tax purpose in the following ways is completely depends upon population of a city. So whenever the population of city is up to the 10 lakhs, then 7.5% of salary is levied for tax purpose. And whenever the population of city is fall between 10 lakhs to 25 lakhs, the taxable value of salary is 10%. And whenever population of city whenever population of city whenever population of city is about 25 lakhs, the taxable value of salary is 15%. Now, if the accommodation is provided by the employer in a rental house, that time the value of per city is different here. So let's see here. The per city is lower or below, that is 15% of salary and rent paid by the employer. Suppose if the employee resides in any hotel, that is 24% of salary, 24 least of the below, that is 24% of salary or actual hotel charges. So in next slide, So let's see. So in case of hotel, there are 24% of salary. Next, in case of rent-free unfurnished accommodation. So before this, rent-free unfurnished accommodation means employer will provide accommodation without any furniture. So in case of rent-free unfurnished accommodation, the value will be measured in the following terms. In the step 1, find out the value of the accommodation without the value of the furniture. So just like in this pro forma, it's unfurnished accommodation. We have to calculate the unfurnished accommodation value first. After all, we have to calculate rent-free or furnished accommodation. So in the step 1, we have to calculate value of the accommodation without the value of the furniture. And second, we have to add the 10% value of the actual furniture or actual rental charges. But suppose the furniture includes TV, fridge, radio, and sofa, fridges, everything. So by adding the furniture value, that is 10% to the rent-free unfurnished accommodation, you will get rent-free furnished accommodation. So another perquisite, important perquisite is motor car. So sometimes employer will provide motor car facility to the employee for the roaming from the office to the his residence. Here, whenever motor car owned by the employer, expenses made by employer and employee, there are two situations are there. If the expenses made by the employer is situation 1, if the expenses made by the employee, situation 2. So in case of employer, whenever car is used, whenever car is used by the employer for the official purpose, here see, whenever employer using car for official purpose, there is no need value of perquisite for tax purpose. But whenever employer used a car for personal purpose, so the cubic capacity of car is up to 1.6 liter. That is, in that time, actual amount of incurred on running and maintenance plus chopper remuneration plus 10% of cost asset amount of charged from employee. Now, in case of employer provided car for the employee, partly official or partly, if the car used by the employer, partly official or partly personal. So up to 1.6 liter cubic capacity, the exempted amount is 1800 per month. Up to 1800 will be exempted, plus driver salary is 900 per month provided by the employer to the employee. Whenever car cubic capacity, engine cubic capacity is more than the 1.6 liters, up to the rupees 2400 per month plus driver salary 900 per month will be provided by the employer. Now, if the expenses met by the employee for official purpose, there are no value of perquisite, and in case of personal purpose, 10% per annum of cost of the asset, and in case of partly official or partly personal, the engine capacity is up to 1.6 liter. Up to 1.6 liter, the employer will provide 600 per month as a car expenditure plus driver salary is 900 per month. In case of more than 1.6 liter, rupees 900 per month plus 900 per month if driver salary is also provided by the employer. So this is all gesture about the motor car, where in case of expenses borne by the employer or in case of employee. So in general form, in case of 1.6 liter, if the car engine cubic capacity is 1.6 liter means up to 1.6 liter, 1800 per month, where employers borne by the expenditure. In case of more than 1.6 liter, 2400 per month plus driver salary is same, that is 900 per month. If the expenses borne by the employee for motor car, if he was uses 1.6 liter cubic capacity engine car, that time 600 per month will be provided along with 900 per month driver salary. But in the car's cubic capacity is more than 1.6 liters, in that situation, rupees 900 per month will be provided as a driver as a motor car expenditure, and 900 per month is provided as a driver's salary. Let's see education facility. So another important perquisite is education facility. Sometimes the employers will provide education facility to the children of employees. That is, here employer provided that where the educational institution itself is maintained and owned by the employer and free educational facilities are provided to the children of the employee, nothing contained in this sub rule shall apply if the cost of such education or the value of such benefit per child does not exceed 1000 rupees, that is per month. So means here for children 1000 rupees will be provided. Next, profits in lieu of salary. So before come to the profit in lieu, going to the profit in lieu of salary, I will give you clarity over perquisition allowance. Means whenever allowances provided in the monetary terms, whereas perquisition is provided in service terms, service benefit. So if the HRA will provided means if the employer provides HRA means he will not provide rent-free accommodation. If the HRA provide, if the employer provide education allowance means he will not provide education facility. So these are both are interdependence. If the employer provide transport allowance means he will not provide any motor car. So both are allowances and perquisites are interdependent, whereas allowances are monetary benefits and perquisites are service benefit. Now next slide we are going to see profit in lieu of salary. So profit in lieu of salary nothing but addition to the benefits which is getting by the employee addition to the salary. So profit in lieu of salary includes the amount of any compensation due to or the amount of any compensation due to or received by an assessee from his employer in connection with the termination of his employment or the modification of the terms and conditions relating thereto. And next, any payment due to or received by an assessee from an employer or a former employer or a former provident or other fund. Means sometimes the employer will provide the service benefit, that is recognized provident fund, or that is RPF, that is, and second one is URPF, that is unrecognized provident fund. And next, any sum received under keyman insurance policy, including the sum allocated by way of bonus and such policy. Means some employers were providing insurance policies to their employees. And next, any amount due to or received before he is joining any employment with that or after cessation of his employment. So this is about profit in lieu of salary. And next, the deduction from salaries. So there are majorly two deductions. Before this, I would like to tell you, not only this, along with this, the employer will provided some contribution up to the 12%. Whenever the contribution is exceed to the 12% of salary, the remaining amount will be taxable, and sometimes interest over recognized provident fund will be allowed as tax. It's also fall under perquisites, and in perquisites some car facility is provided and club facility is given. So all are included in the perquisites. Profit and lieu of salary means it's the addition benefit to the salaries, that is RPF, insurance policies, interest over insurance policy, or interest over provident fund. So here deduction from salaries, the last from the salaries. So deduction means deduction in the sense there are two major deductions are here. That is, first one is entertainment allowance. So entertainment allowance is only applicable to the government employees. Entertainment allowance is only applicable to the government employees. Entertainment allowance is only provided but to the government employees. Now the how the entertainment allowance is calculated. So maximum amount for entertainment allowed entertainment allowance allowed by the employer is rupees 5,000 and 20% of basic salary. So here we are considered only basic salary. And next, the amount of entertainment, the actual entertainment allowance is reserved. The least of the above three is given as deduction from salary income. So from the gross salary income, from the gross salary income, from the gross salary income, we have to, from the gross salary income, we have to deduct these allowances. There are two allowances, that is section 16 is discuss about the allowances. Section 16 of 1 is deals with entertainment allowance, and section 16 of 2 it deals with employment taxes. Means in case of other than government employees, entertainment tax is not allowed. Now next, professional tax. In case of professional tax, it is deducted from the employees salary, that is maximum amount of professional tax is 2,500. So this is all about income from salaries. So first we have to calculate, let's see, first we have to calculate basic salary. Now after that we have to add salary plus allowances. There are various allowances are there, and plus perquisites, and perquisites we have to add profit in lieu of salary. And from this we have to deduct entertainment allowance, which is applicable to the only government employees, and employment tax. By deducting this, we will get net income from salary, which is allowed to tax purpose. So this is all about theoretical concept of income from salary. I hope I tried my level best. Not only this, so how the tax liability will measured from the income from salary? Means here we have to find out the total income of an assessee, which is received from the salary. And next, afterwards we have to calculate, we have to deduct, we have to see whether surcharge is applicable or not. Surcharge means tax on tax. Afterwards we have to calculate whether tax rebate is applicable or not. Tax rebate in the sense, the assessee who are having income less than to the 5 lakhs, it is a tax rebate will be applicable to the those employees. And next we have to calculate health and education cess, that is 4% over taxable income. And so this is what the complete gesture about income from salaries. Thank you very much for the today's class.